Welcome back to discussion 4 Coal bed methane engineering, formation evaluation, and hydraulic fracturing process. So, wireline logs మనం run చేసినప్పుడు what critical reservoir parameters should be analyzed? They are coal thickness, gas content, coal tonnage, and volumetric gas in place. So, coal tonnage ante it is per acre, CT per acre, coal tonnage per acre, and volumetric gas in place. As we do this in conventional oil and gas reservoirs, clean permeability, evaluation of sands near prospective CBM target, natural fracture orientation, modern day stress orientation. So evaluation of four major categories of wireline logging tools like nuclear, electrical, acoustic and magnetic resonance possible. But అన్నీ అక్కర్లేదు మన గేట్స్ సంబంధించినంత వరకు అవసరమైనన్ని I'll discuss. So natural gamma ray response. The natural gamma ray ray tool measures bulk gamma rays emitted from the radioactive minerals in the immediate vicinity of the wellbore. So ఏం చేస్తాం natural gamma ray tool when we place it in the wellbore, it will measure the bulk gamma rays emitted from the minerals in the reservoir or in the wellbore. So most of the naturally occurring radioactivity in sedimentary formations comes from three types of minerals. So make telusinde. If you are already done with logging course, then you can answer this: thorium, potassium, or uranium. These three elements valla we can expect a gamma ray response in the wellbore. Actually, in conventional reservoirs, clay minerals ki actually large amounts of naturally occurring radioactive minerals ఉంటాయి. Typically, a gamma ray measurement is interpreted as follows. So high readings shales దగ్గర కనిపిస్తాయి అన్నమాట. సో మీరు చూస్తే gamma ray response it is at the left part of the log run in API units. So 0 to 200 API. So మీరు చూస్తే this is the line. Okay, this is the line. Okay, so gamma ray response or measurement is interpreted as follows. High readings are shales and low readings are potential reservoirs. Coals కి actually very low natural gamma ray response ఉంటుంది. ఎందుకంటే అందులో ఉన్న మినరల్స్ క్లే మినరల్స్ లోగా ఉంటాయి. సో gamma ray response is sensitive to clay minerals mostly. But our coal matrix is an organic rock and it is not inorganic. It does not have clay content. అందుకని response in coal reservoirs is low. Occasionally, coal can have high values also. Typically uranium, because of presence of radioactive material, uranium ఉండడం వల్ల, because it is deposited by groundwater movement. సో గామా రే మెజర్మెంట్ ఎక్కువ ఉండొచ్చు. సో మీరు చూస్తే కోల్, ఇక్కడ కోల్ ఉంది, ఇక్కడ అంతా కోల్ ఉంది. సో దేర్ ద మెజర్మెంట్ ఈజ్ లో, గామా రే రెస్పాన్స్ ఈజ్ వెరీ వెరీ లో. యాక్చువల్లీ లాగింగ్ నుంచి ఎలాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగరు గేట్లో, బట్ ఇట్స్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ ఈజ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ ఎఫెక్టివ్ కనెక్టివిటీ బిట్వీన్ the drilling to the production process of coal bed methane reservoir engineering. Okay. Next, spontaneous potential measurement. So spontaneous potential measurement ఏం చేస్తుంది? It is measured by putting a device at the top and at the bottom. So the voltage potential difference created by these both meters is due to salinity difference between borehole fluid and reservoir fluid. కదా, completely correct. సో దీన్ని బట్టి రెసిస్టివిటీ వాల్యూస్ డిపెండ్ అయి ఉంటాయి అండ్ salinity or water saturation values, streaming potential or flowing potential and electrochemical inversion. సో మన ఫార్మేషన్ ఉండే అయాన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ బెడ్ టు అదర్ బెడ్ ఇన్వర్ట్ అవ్వడం వల్ల we can find a spontaneous potential measurement between the voltage at the surface and voltage at the reservoir or in the wellbore. So when the SP measurement deflects to the right of the shale baseline. So మనం చూస్తాం కదా shale baseline కి we generally we generally can find a shale baseline and a sand baseline in the log. So when the SP measurement deflects to the right of shale baseline, the borehole fluid salinity is greater than salinity of formation water. So borehole fluid salinity ఎక్కువ ఉన్నట్టు formation water కంటే. The magnitude of SP deflection, no matter which way it goes, times the thickness of the coal is a good qualitative indication. Very appropriate. Qualitative, quantitative. Qualitative is very good indicative of permeability. So magnitude of SP deflection times the thickness is a good qualitative indication of permeability. So ఇది మనకి important point. In coals, SP deflection tends to reflect the bulk permeability of coal. A greater SP deflection observed across from a coal indicates greater permeability in the coal. So SP deflection from the shale baseline is అనుకుంటే if it is greater, it means that there is more permeability across this zone. So మనకు ఒక మెజర్మెంట్ తెలిసింది. We can estimate the variation in permeability but not permeability directly. Okay. Next, resistivity measurements. Resistivity tools come in two general categories. We know induction and lateral lock. So the choice of resistivity tools is usually based upon the salinity of the borehole fluids. Borehole fluid salinity batti we should select the induction tool or lateral lock tool. Induction tools are typically run in wells with less than 30,000 ppm chlorides, parts per million chlorides in the drilling mud. So in saltier muds, the dual lateral lock tool is used as the tool of choice. The most common resistivity devices run for CBM application are induction based tools. Induction based tools వాడతాం. ఈ induction based tools ఎక్కడ వాడతాం? When the chloride content is less than 30,000 ppm. Generally, ఇది important point. Coal tends to exhibit rather high resistivity measurement. Coal in its purest form is a good insulator and has very high resistivity. Impurities in coal such as clays, pyrites, volcanic minerals and fluid-filled cleating tend to reduce the resistivity in coals. In relation to coal, the microlog can be an excellent indicator of degree of fleeting in coal beds. This is an important point. Maybe matching microlog, it will be an excellent indicator. So మీరు చూస్తే here you can see resistivity, deep and shallow, deep depth and shallow depth, or sorry, deep radius of investigation and shallow radius of investigation. So resistivity మనకు తెలిసిందే కదా, fundamentals నుంచి ohm meter is called resistivity. Resistivity is called resistivity units ohm meter. So you have the scale 1 to 1000 in log derivatives, log plot. So మీరు చూస్తే across shale it is very low, shallow. In porous sandstone, shallow tool measures reservoir in zone flushed with mud filtrate. Deep tool measures zone with saline formation water. So shallow tool mud filtrate అయిన zone measure చేస్తుంది, but deep tool measures the saline formation water. So saline formation water అంటే it is good conductor and bad resistor. అందుకే resistivity value తక్కువ ఉంది కదా. Okay. So across coal you can see a peak in the resistivity measurement. ఎందుకని పీక్ ఉంది? ముందు స్లైడ్ ఒకసారి వెళ్తే తెలుస్తుంది మనకి ఎందుకని పీక్ ఉంది. ఎందుకని? Because coal tends to have high resistivity but with the presence of mineral matter like impurities like clays, pyrites, volcanic minerals and fluid filled cleating tend to reduce the resistivity of coal. So మీరు ఇక్కడ coal కి resistivity ఎక్కువ ఉందని గమనిస్తే there is no impurity present in the coal. Okay. So gamma ray కూడా మీరు చూడొచ్చు, it is less. Okay. Okay. So microlog response characterization chart, ఇది కూడా కొంచెం ఇంపార్టెంట్. So in non-clitted or fractured coal bed type we can see a response like this. It is not very clear. చూసారా? It is little disturbing. So cleat, although cleat permeability is not directly determined using micrologs. Many studies have demonstrated a good correlation between the cleated footage and production. So cleat footage batti we can estimate the production sense. So in fractured or poorly cleated low to fair permeability, we have this type of response. So microlog, shallow deep. In well cleated or good permeability, we can have this kind of response. It is low. Next, thin laminated coal sequence, probably some fracturing, most likely low permeability. It is in peaks because it is laminated. కదా ఒక్కొక్క బెడ్కి ఒక్కొక్కలాగా ఉంటుంది. సో ఇది అంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాదు, బట్ ఇట్స్ background should be known. That's all. Example of variation of permeability indications among coal beds using the same well bore. Nuclear measurements. So neutron tools are the basis. High energy gamma ray tools are commonly called density tools. High energy neutron tools are referred to as neutron tools. High energy neutron tools. So nuclear measurements are divided in two categories: high energy gamma rays and tools using high energy neutrons. Okay, so high energy gamma rays density tools and high energy neutrons neutron tools. So typically when they are run in combination, the log is called density neutron log. Most CBM evaluation is performed with density log. So coal ki typically bulk density measurement ఎంత ఉంటుంది 1.2 gram per cc to 2 gram per cc. Gas content has been measured in coal shales with bulk density of up to 2.6 gram per cc. Gas content. So the bulk density log is a high energy gamma ray tool that requires good contact with borehole wall for most accurate measurement. Neutron porosity tool, also called compensated neutron tool, responds to hydrogen index of matrix. Ante kada hydrogen index, the amount of hydrogen atoms present in the reservoir. So that is the hydrogen index. It will have a formula. Coal by its chemical composition has one of the highest hydrogen index values of common minerals and counted in sedimentary deposits. Acoustic sonic measurements. So sonic tools identify coals by their long transit times, or also called interval transit time in microsecond per foot or mus per meter, which will typically be longer than most any other formation in the well. So coals will have higher transit times, right? So transit time ఎక్కువ ఉందంటే their conduction is very very low due to more mineral matter, that is the measure of organic content present in the coal. The acoustic variations are slower and the log response is indicated as given here. So మీరు చూస్తే coal చాలా తక్కువ, long transit time, so it has very less sonic measurement. అంటే చూసారా 500 microsecond per meter it is taking. Okay, so acoustic log interpretation ఈ సైడ్ ఉంటుంది, from right to left. Right, so we are done with the logging methods. Now we have to take that background and identify the coal properties. So coal identification. The gross thickness of particular coal seam is determined by the following general wireline log measurement cutoffs. So coal undante we should have these cutoffs. Bulk density measurements less than 2 gram per cc. So less than 2 gram per cc bulk density unte we can identify this as coal. Correct. Next, gamma ray measurements less than 60 degrees API. 60 degrees API kan takku unte gamma ray measurement coal. So more than 60 unte it is not coal. Cutoff undi kabatti. Neutron porosity measurement must be greater than 50%. Sonic transit time greater than 80 microsecond per foot. Shear transit time greater than 180 microsecond per foot. And resistivity is greater than 50 ohm meter square per meter. So దీన్ని బట్టి we can calculate coal tonnage per acre. Per acre is 1357.9 H into rho H bulk. Okay, so 1357.9 is the empirical constant. It is derived actually because we measure coal in tons. So gas content of coal, this is important, right? It is possible to estimate the gas content, total gas in place and recovery factor. So మనం ఆల్రెడీ ముందు లాంగ్వేర్ ఐసోథర్మ్ చూసాం. సో ఇన్ లాంగ్వేర్ ఐసోథర్మ్ we are estimating the volume dissolved, right? సో ఇక్కడ గ్యాస్ కంటెంట్ ఎస్టిమేట్ చేయొచ్చు. సో GCl is equal to VL లాంగ్వేర్ వాల్యూమ్ ఇంటూ 1 మైనస్ MC అంటే ఏంటి గెస్ చేయొచ్చు లేదా మీకు తెలుసు కూడా, మాయిశ్చర్ కంటెంట్, అండ్ AC అంటే ఏంటి యాష్ కంటెంట్. సో దిస్ బోత్ ఆర్ అన్డిసైడ్. సో 1 minus MC minus AC will give us the carbon content of coal, right? So VL into 1 minus MC plus AC 1 minus of by PR plus PL. So PL is the Langmuir volume kada. Okay, Langmuir pressure, sorry. So what is Langmuir volume? It is the volume dissolved at infinite pressure kada. Okay, next total gas in place GIP is equal to ఈ వచ్చిన GCl into coal tonnage per acre into area. So per acre కాబట్టి ఏరియా క్యాన్సిల్ అయిపోతుంది, we get the gas in place in SCF per ton, right? Recovery factor. So recovery factor is GCA by GCl. So GCA అంటే మీకు డౌట్ రావచ్చు, it is nothing. So depending on the government regulation or even the drilling completion production program of the coal reservoir, so we can define GCA as the gas content at abandonment pressure from the Langmuir isotherm in SCF per ton. So GCA will be the అంటే అంతవరకే we can produce at up to some pressure and not below that. So GCA by GCl, the total gas content, initial gas content. So that will give us the recovery factor. Okay. Hydraulic fracturing. So ఇది అవుట్లైన్సే, పెద్దగా యూజ్ ఉండదు. The coal bed methane reservoir should be dewatered and a permeable path to the wellbore should be established for the gas to produce. So hydraulic fracturing technology facilitates dewatering and elevates gas production rates to economic levels. That is right. Adjustments made to the process for conventional gas reservoirs of low permeability sands were necessary for the coal because of the following phenomena. Because coal is special reservoir kabatti we should make some adjustments, and unlike the conventional gas reservoirs, adjustments ఏంటి, the surface of the coal absorbs chemicals of fracturing fluid. సో ఇది కదా ఫ్రాక్చరింగ్ ఫ్లూయిడ్స్ లో వాడే మన కాన్స్టిట్యూయెంట్స్ అవి అబ్జర్బ్ అవ్వచ్చు కోల్ మీద. సో ఇట్ మే రెడ్యూస్ ద రికవరీ, అల్టిమేట్ రికవరీ. సో we should make some change, we should change it. The coal has an extensive natural network of primary, secondary and tertiary fractures that open to accept the fluid during hydraulic fracturing but close upon the fluid afterwards, reducing damage, fluid loss, fines and treating pressures higher than expected kada. So we should make some adjustments. సో ఏమవుతుంది, హైడ్రాలిక్ ఫ్రాక్చరింగ్ లో ఉండే ఫ్లూయిడ్స్ దే మే స్టోర్. Fracturing fluid can leak deep into the natural fractures of coal without forming a filter cake. Filter cake ఫామ్ చేయకుండా కూడా డీప్ గా they may leak. Multiple complex fractures develop during treatment. High pressures are often required to fracture coal. ఎక్కువ ప్రెషర్ కావాలి. Young's modulus for coal is much lower than that of conventional rock. So what is Young's modulus? So it is an empirical relationship between stress and strain. So stress is equal to Y into strain. So Y is the Young's modulus. So Young's modulus ఏంటి? This is also called as modulus of elasticity. So these values are very very lower. So stress strain relationships కూడా important. నేను ఫస్ట్ చెప్పిన దాని ప్రకారం. So stress improvements with time. Fines and rubble అంటే it is a category of fine result from fracturing brittle coal. So fines అంటే they are the particles which have less than 45 micrometer diameter or size. So these challenges should be overcome and adjustments should be made. Okay, thank you for this lecture and for your time. Thank you. So next lecture lo we can look at the previous year questions. Thank you.